must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is.
It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, "He is our son and he is our thief."
If you are deviant
Yes.
and I call you leader, probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, and this and that. They don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers,
Yes.
do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
Today, thousands and thousands of Africans and many countries in Africa have conflicts. Notably, from Libya, Cameroon, Nigeria, Biafra, and Boko Haram, to Democratic Republic of Congo, of where we have seen a resurgence of the past military and conflicts coming back in that country. Hundreds and hundreds of people have been displaced, killed, maimed, tortured, raped, several of them dying of hunger, starvation, and other natural causes. The fighting seems not to be ending. For the sake of Libya, the Libyan recognized international government is under siege in Tripoli from another faction recognized by Egypt, France, UAE, and other countries. Whereas the one in Tripoli is recognized by the UN, it has been bombarded, has been strangulated, and many millions of Libyans are dying of hunger, lack of water. The water system has been cut off. The bombardment goes on. In Democratic Republic of Congo, we've seen more of active rebel activities returning to the region after some silence has been observed. When we come to Cameroon, we see millions and millions of Amazonians slaughtered. Yet, when you come to Biafra, again millions and hundreds of millions and millions are worried, displaced, tortured by the Buhari regime. Yet again in the north, we see Boko Haram killing, maiming, abducting, and burning down villages in the same Nigeria. When you cross over to Central African Republic, the same is the history that has littered Africa. While all these events are taking shape, Africa is silent. Africa is not making enough efforts to find a solution to what is causing the problems in Libya, in DRC, in Cameroon, in Nigeria, Biafra, and now you add in Khartoum, Sudan. As people die, the people of Africa have no answers, have no solutions. There is nothing to endear to bring an end to the conflicts that have killed Africa. We seem to be new ones manufactured, old ones reignited, encouragement coming from external powers. One power that has been seen in the shadows of all these conflicts, especially the one of Libya that has escalated in the Sahara region of Africa, is France. When you come to Democratic Republic of Congo, the same country is in the shadows. The war can be seen is France. When you come to Cameroon, in the Amazonia, the one behind that has the key to bringing peace is France. Therefore, our question as Africans, why are we silent? Why are we not saying enough is enough of the wars? Thank you.
First of all, let me thank you. I've prepared 2 papers which I believe will be circulated because they'll not be projected. But if you can see, first of all, I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. I've done 2 pictorials. One of them is described as Africa at the dinner table. And if you look at Africa at the dinner table, Africa is on a plate and it is meat. And the diners at the dinner table are France, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, the Chinese, and progressively the Arabs. And my second picture is the African hotspots. It's not visible from there. But if you look at Africa today, and you make a clean sweep with your mind, there are different conflicts of different intensity in Somalia, in northern Mauritania, in northern Mali, in Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea-Bissau, in the Cameroons, in South Sudan, and one can go on and on. And there is a sense in which Africa has always been alive to the question of interference. I will refer this audience, particularly those who are starting to take time and read the 32-odd speeches that were made in the month of May 1963 by the then heads of states and government of independent African states, the 32 of them. And there are two speeches that I want to isolate for this presentation. One was by David Dacko of Central African Republic. And in thanking Emperor Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah on that day, he said that we must never forget that the colonial power has not left us. We must recognize that he did not go willingly. And if we don't check them, they'll come back again. And what would little Central African Republic do against them? Today, he is right. Today, if we remember the activities of France and how they have propped up the regime of Jean-Bedel Bokassa, he was right. Today, as the Honorable Minister has indicated, Africa remains the only continent in the world that is referred to in these terms, Anglophone, to mean that we are a sphere of our erstwhile colonizers. About 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting of the Commonwealth in London, England. And a friend of mine who is an Anglophile sent me the photograph very gleefully, saying this is a meeting of 53 equal states. I told him, no. If it were so, why is it that the leadership of the Commonwealth is hereditary rather than rotational? In other words, in the minds of the British, her former colonies are still under her tutelage. And I want to submit to us that in the minds of what I'll call the conceptual West, they think they have a divine duty to instruct Africans what to do. True. And in the minds of many African leaders, they think that they have a divine duty to accept what they are told. That, in my view, is what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the mindset. And this is something that has been examined. We have seen France and its very pernicious presence in Africa. We know what they did in Burkina Faso against Thomas Sankara. We know what they did in Mali or the Sudan against Modibo Keita or against Sekou Touré in Guinea. Pernicious to the core. The Portuguese, we know what battles had to be fought in that area. And let me put this very bluntly. When the former leader of Portugal, Marcelo Caetano, was asked, why can you not allow the colonies to gain independence? This is what he said in substance. As I have examined world history over the years, the following have emerged. That the Caucasians have been responsible for monumental discoveries in the development of man. So have they.
Good morning, viewers. Good morning, wherever you are in Africa. Thank you very much for tuning in to all our Pan-African station. Thank you very much, wherever you are, your activities on the African continent, or for the African continent, or within the African continent, or about the African continent. Welcome. With me in the studio this morning to bring about the Good Morning shows is none other than Miriam Ogutu, Good morning, Miriam.
Good morning to you, Dr. Matanga.
Yes, and how is the weather treating you?
It's Nairobi. It's June towards July. It's a bit cold, but
Yes.
I'm kind of used to it. But I can't wait for the sunshine.
Sunshine.
Yes.
Egypt. And as we said, we don't talk about the AFCOM.
Yes.
You can talk, but not me.
Not you.
Yes.
Yes. Just to have a few updates from the Nigerian team that is refusing to play today because they've not been paid their allowances.
Nigeria? You see, Africa amuses us. That's why Nigeria and Total Oil are the same. It is Total Oil bringing the chaos. Buhari is an agent of Total Oil. How can he fail to pay?
They're supposed to be paid $10,000 per player since
Per day.
That's what they were promised the whole time, I think.
But there are very many rich people in Nigeria, Dagote. Several people who can actually sponsor that team without the government.
But the government has the money.
Yes. Buhari is not interested in them. He's not from Nigeria, he's from Sudan. So it is everywhere in Africa. Zimbabwean team also. Today I'm told they play my country. I leave it to God. I don't want to know anything about AFCOM. Miriam, talk about it, please. Because I told you, AFCOM is a fiasco. Is a fiasco. How do you, 66 years after independence, you still rely on Total Africa?
Actually, it's called Total
Africa AFCOM.
AFCOM, yes.
Me, to go and watch that,
It's
it's like going to watch yourself being smeared with leprosy. So I would rather stay home and stay with my own leprosy than an additional leprosy.
You don't want to get
No. No.
Yes.
Africans, they don't want to say no. I say no, and I always say no. I stay no.
You stick to your ground.
Yes. You know, most of the conflicts are coming here because people stay no. They don't say no. I say no. Let me be a beggar. Call me any name. Let me have no account with money. But I say no to my rights. I stand as an African. Say no. No. I'm not looking for power. I'm looking for the betterment of African continent. I want an Africa that has values. I want an Africa that values people. I want an Africa that has its own economy, sustainable. I want an Africa that can unite, think together, and not an African captured by a external non-African power.
Those were Sankara's thoughts exactly.
Yes.
That's why they murdered him.
Yes, they can murder me also. I'm ready for the murder. Sankara went, the rest went, I'll speak.
He insisted Burkina Faso must be independent, must run its own economy.
You cannot be 66 years and then you proudly parade yourself, Total Oil AFCON Africa. Total Oil, my foot. That's not Africa.
Well, Egypt has painted red.
Yes, that's not Africa.
Red, yes.
That's the Africa subjected to neo-colonial mentality. An Africa subjected to torture, maiming, conflicts. An Africa where Total Oil spreads conflict. It does not spread development. Tell me one university Total Oil has built that teaches people about oil. In Africa, if you have it, send the clip to me. Send one clip to me. Africa. Nyenyo Africa. Africa, you are, I tell you, show me one university. Total Oil has been resourcing our oil for over 60 years. Has it built how many universities in Africa that teach people about oil? I see people flying to Africa, abroad, to go and study oil refineries in Iran, in where, but I've never seen people in a university in Cape Town studying oil, where Total Oil University is fully fledged with professors and the payments coming to that professor. No way. Africa zero. We are zero. We are bewitched. Our role is only to accuse each other. I don't see an Africa that has the sense of direction. They are very happy. How can an Africa, a nation with great resources in Africa, find itself with its players not paid $10,000? How? How can an Africa have an MP who says he doesn't want foreigners? When the president of the country has said, come in, don't need a visa, Ghana has opened, it doesn't matter. It is up to the government to restructure what type of visa you give to every guest. You don't come to blanketly condemn all the foreigners. These countries are also going to retaliate. How did the people of Nairobi select Sapke Pumpkin?
He's my member of parliament, by the way.
He's a pumpkin.
I did not vote for him, but that was very irresponsible of him to.
How do you select a pumpkin of that nature?
A pumpkin.
Yes.
I love pumpkin.
Yes. Liwondo.
Call him something else. I love
Liwondo. Pumpkin. We have to call it a spade, Jamen. Now I call upon Africans also to blacklist his music.
It never sells outside of Kenya.
No, they will blacklist it. And even in Kenya, we can blacklist them. After all, we had controlled his behavior, but we are going to expose his behavior. Hey! Foreigners contribute to the economy. You cannot supersede what the president and the Minister of Foreign Affairs have said, and the Minister of Internal Affairs on immigration status. Jaguar, shame upon you.
That might attract some xenophobia.
It's xenophobia.
It's
xenophobia.
Yes.
Such a man should not even, he's a pumpkin. I told you pumpkin.
I love pumpkin.
Yes, go and eat it.
Call him something else.
No, go and eat it. It's a pumpkin. Anna Kiri, how can you go to national television and he doesn't have English language? He was being interviewed yesterday. His English is very poor. Go to school. Where did you get these guys? These are George Soros surrogates, triggering, always lining up for handouts. His record is known for handouts, despite the fact that he made money from music. Useless. Foreigners, for a leave. These foreigners will retaliate. Where will you sell your goods? You handle the Chinese issue properly. I am happy with the government spokesman, Colonel Cyrus, who came in and said that is not the government stand. Otherwise, Jaguar is a pumpkin. Let him do what he wants.
Yes, those sentiments are very careless. And he forgets that he's a leader, I think. It has not sunk in.
Foreigners also have blood. You can be a foreigner in your own country one day. One day, I did not know that I would be a foreigner. I did not know. I did not know when I grew up. We didn't know. Many Kenyans who laughed about foreigners found us in London. We helped them to fill forms for refugee status. Shame upon Jaguar. Pumpkin. Maondo. That is an MP or what? On television last night. Why do television put such people? We know there is a problem of Chinese. Who brought these Chinese? Who brought the Chinese down the road? Who brought the Chinese? Are they the black people? Are they not the ones who leased them the kiosks? Who's leasing the kiosks? Who? Jaguar. Reason. Have brains. Otherwise, shut up Because you can see now, that's the problem why commander says he's worse than he doesn't have any brain. You can't reason like that. A younger man, how about if you take over this country? How about if you take over this country? You'll kill every foreigner. Every foreigner must be killed. Must be that type of xenophobia is killing South Africa today.
It is.
Remember, these people came with their money. You leased them the houses. Who leased the houses? Why can't Jaguar tell us the list of people, absentee landlords, who have leased these shops for over 10 years, 25 years, and they have been paid cash? They have been paid cash. Jaguar, go and look at those shops on River Road, down there, Kirinyanga Road. These shops have been leased already. The owners are drinking wine and whatever it is back at home. And he has got a lease with the Chinese. Who brought the Chinese here? Let's understand. Let's reason rationally. You don't condemn every foreigner. This economy depends even on foreigners.
And he did not just even condemn the Chinese alone. I heard he mentioned also Tanzania and other countries.
Tanzania has now retaliated. They have gone to parliament. You see what these MPs cause us. This is a group that has been tanga-tangaring here. Him is one of those tanga-tanga groups that is causing President Uhuru Kenyatta headache in this country. Wako na plan waseme George Soros anawapatia pesa wanataka kumwaga damu hapa. Nyinyi msikie wa Kenya nyinyi. The developments are bigger than what you think, you Kenyans. Wanawamwagia pesa, sasa wanataka kutrigger a revolution in town. Some of us studied intelligence as far as 1979. We were already intelligence officers. Don't think you can beat us because of your stupid schooling. I did not read Okundipi. I read J.A. Bright. You know, this can trigger everybody. By the time you end up, people have killed these Chinese.
Yes, because
if you don't want them, let them go home nicely.
That crowd he was talking to, especially that video that is making rounds on social media, that video he was speaking to people who, when you look at, will take that very seriously, literally, and go out there and try to get rid of these foreigners.
What do you think? What do you expect of a leader, Miriam?
Sorry.
A leader who has a constituency and he lines up for a handout. You have a constituency of 60,000 people. There is a lot of resourceful people in your own constituency. Then on national level, you are lining up for handout, direction on how to run your constituency. Pumpkin. You love it, go and eat it. Sorry, let's take a break. We can take a break. I want to call upon the people of Abazonia today. Wherever you are in the diaspora, in Abazonia itself, that in a struggle you are bound to have divisions. But divisions should not divert you from the main focus, the main challenge. We have struggled to expose the happenings, the human rights abuses in Amazonia. The army has killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands, burnt houses of people, internet was cut off, schools were closed, dispensaries, hospitals were burnt down. Amazonians should not be intimidated by Paul Robia. It is not upon the leaders of Amazonia, because I am not from Amazonia, but I've played a pivotal role in making sure that I loud out the voices, I put out the call, I call upon AU, EU, United Nations, Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International. Many of them have listened to some of the things that I say here, and they have come at last. America, United States of America, is slowly moving towards giving the Amazonian people the dignity they deserve. I therefore call upon the leaders and the leadership of the Amazonian people to unite for a purpose. The unity of purpose is paramount, as opposed to disunity, which has nothing but only produces ego that we have seen in South Sudan. What has killed South Sudan is not because they don't have the money, the minerals, the resources. Is ego between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. We would not like to see that ego come to the people of Amazonia, the leadership of Amazonia. I call upon Samuel Sako, Akanga, Miran, and Eko to unite and talk with one voice on international scene that will bring about the peace, the tranquility that you yearn for since 1961, when the Resolution 1608 was abandoned by the United Nations General Assembly and Amazonia was annexed by the Cameroon government by then. I call upon you, my brothers, to pick up the unity call and free your people without disintegration. Thank you. After that short break, we were on the topics of Kenya. And one of the topics that we want to take on is the Uhuru legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta still goes on. He wants a united Kenya. A Kenya united against all forms of things that have affected us since independence. A Kenya that can think, reason, move, work. A Kenya enough for everybody. A country fit for every tribe to realize the dreams of our founding fathers. A country that Kenya can be seen as a symbol of Africa, of hope. A country that can deliver to its people. A country that can improve the lives of the people of Kenya. That's the legacy President Uhuru Kenyatta wants. That is the legacy that we want to talk about, continue to talk about, continue to engage in the 36 months left. Not a country divided by petty differences, accusations, hoax, fiction, non-truth, murder wrote by themselves, scripts that we don't know, faked documents. Note that some of these documents flying around are fake. It is now coming out that if they are fake, then it is your credibility. You have to prove it, that these things happen. A country that does not rely on cyber crime. Why our leaders rely on cyber crime and the theft of documentation and changing documentation from one side to the other You know, someone comes and says they have even, these guys have gone as the extent of getting applications that can make you and me be talking a place where we are not supposed to be talking. That's not scientific. That is fakeness, fraud. A country that Uhuru wants to live is a country governed by law, by systems. A country that has rule of law, not a country that talks about so and so is going to kill me in my shadows. Not a country that sits down to say we block so and so. Yes, a country that listens. Leadership comes once and is centered to one person. At the moment, Uhuru Kenyatta is the leader. There is no other leader that you have in Kenya. The problem that Kenyans have had, they have thought that the leadership is in Uhuru and half is in Ruto. No, there is only one president.
It's one.
One president, commander-in-chief. There were no two swords. No two swords. No two swords given out. There was only one sword. People should learn that quickly. The earlier they learn, the better. They will improve their lives, and these stories of assassination, murder will be away. But if you think you have power more than your boss, yet the sword was given to your boss, that's where problems are. Mina weka was.
Yes, and speaking about the murder and the mysteries that surrounds that very serious allegation, this is what the Standard newspaper says this morning here in Nairobi. Ruto's Nabs Kinotti's top detective, it is said that investigation into assassination claims as told as deputy president rejects a lead investigator, insists that only Kinotti, the DCI boss, can take his statement. Okay, that is interesting. I would think that any person should be able to do that. And also the Star this morning, there you go. It says assassination was Ruto letter fake. I've not got a hold of this letter.
I can send it to you now.
Okay.
Even if you read, you have gone to English school of Ogundipe, or which one of there's Ogundipe. Which was your dear? Tell me quietly, madam, please.
The river and the source. But here.
The river? The river and the what?
By the lovely lady Marjorie, the river and the source, and many others. And things
that was your English.
And things fall apart.
Book.
Things fall apart also.
Yes, which is your literature. Yes, which is very good. Yes. Things fall apart was my favorite.
Okay.
If you look at the English in that letter being written to the president.
I'll mark it. So I need a red pen.
Yes. Okay. In fact, we shall take a break at the end of the show. We get you to mark the English. It fits the man in cabinet who does not have English. Mm-hmm. Yes, there was a chaser and there is a one who doesn't know even the words. So this is going slowly. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Oh, we wept when we remembered Zion.
The source of this letter.
Yes.
The DC is trying to find
Can I construct for you? I'm not Colombo.
Yes.
I am a private investigator, Colombo. Mm-hmm. Yes. The script is like this. Mm-hmm. Day one, in Kasarani at 4 p.m., mm-hmm. the president becomes tough on a section of MPs in his own party.
Yes.
Who had a problem, who are doing other campaigns. The president directs and says he condemns it and lets people go back to their constituency. 2 days passed. After thinking so hard, the MPs came back. They started shooting from all angles. In Nakuru, Bahati MP was on, Baraza Didimas was on, the other senator who shouts from the top of the tree because the husband was caught in Magendo was on. Another one was on, you can listen to the group. No sooner did the noise and the roar of the tiger out of the president subsided. This is true story, Kenyans. If an audio tape purportedly target who? Target that Luo who is in our office. The Luo man is called to you. Raphael to you. With an invisible somebody, I don't know him. I have never known him and I don't want to know him. If he was talking such words, this is allegedly. I am not saying this is the true story of mine. A tape and all, the script.
The picture, yes.
I'm painting the picture as a journalist, like the newspaper has painted the picture. You don't stop me from painting the picture.
You're a true literature student here.
Yes, look here, script comes. Audio tape arrives after the tigers roared. The audio tape was meant to prepare the journey to River Tex. A River Tex. On Wednesday, the same group section of members of parliament called a press conference. One of them was even insulting the president, belittling him, sending messages. Another one said, that message is not mine, after he had sent it. The script, how events have been choreographed. That's the best English word where I was looking for.
They have been choreographed.
Yeah, choreographed.
Yes.
Ugandan, we speak that way.
You're right on point.
On point. Let's move on, my sister. Events turn up. Tuju's audio tape becomes the talk of the city. You know, all along this thing is to prevent one big thing. Corruption is underneath. You know, all these actions are being done to stop.
Can I pause you for a moment?
Yes, yes. Because
now when I read from the standard, the DP is saying the only person who can take his statement is the DCI. So he does not want any investigator. Okay. And the DCI is supposed to be releasing that, the scandal, the dam scandal, he said this week.
Yes.
Now you can continue.
Let's go. That same Saturday, the director of DCI told us on newspaper, and I quote, he said, the files for charging the people who took Camero dam money is ready. I want you to draw the picture. Come along with me, Kenyans, and you see how this thing is going to turn up to be laughable. But the meeting had taken place. And don't forget this one. The meeting of the ministers had taken place on 14th
of May.
14th of May. Nobody told us from 14th of May that meeting existed. I'm Colombo. Africa Colombo. So don't kill me. Let me be useful. Someone had a letter written, and another exciting thing, does the president release his letters? Can you write a letter to the president, to State House, then the president releases the letter? Wagwan. Can the president release the letter that has been sent to him? And can that letter come from the president without receiving the stamp initialed? Is a letter written to the head of public service? A minister is under the head of cabinet.
Because there's a protocol.
Yes! Look at that. Yes! This year I call for those. There is a man, there are people, younger men, they are playing with people's minds. Get them. Are you with me now? You have seen the angle.
I'm following.
The president cannot release his own letter that he has received in confidence to the public. It means the person who offered the letter released the letter but never gave the copy to the public, to the president.
And this letter was meant to reach the president. It was released to the public.
Okay. So who released the letter?
We need to know that.
Whoever released the letter is the same man who released the video. Link it with the audio tape.
Simultaneously.
Yes.
Okay.
In that same week. While remember the DCI director, Kinoti, my friend, had told us that he's charging the people. The file is ready. Hey, hallelujah. This is very exciting. When you steal properly. Mumepatikana. You have been enjoying free money. Mumepatikana. That's how corruption. I saw the American ambassador. If the American ambassador can cry more.
Or yesterday with Hussein.
What about Matanga? I cannot cry more. I cannot cry more. I'm an African. I enjoy what Kenya goes through. An American ambassador is crying more. I should not cry more. Then let's move. Mama, let's move there. You see now? Kinoti has released on the Sunday Nation, the Saturday Nation, and quoted the dead, saying, I am charging a minister, PSS, and the general managers, Oil Camerero Dam. Angalia hiyo. You see where we are heading? When the people heard that this eminent arrest of the minister and these guys,
spending, yes.
Remember also people who bought chicken knives, towels, chicken cutlery, mama slippers, underwears, vests, towel. Wagwan. Those statements are still with DCI. I don't work for DCI. Private investigator, Colombo part 2.
Colombo is piecing up the pieces.
Pieces. Now pieces, because you know we are trying to reach the murder we wrote. Have you seen this Agatha Christine?
Murder she wrote.
The murder she wrote. This is exactly to fit the murder she wrote.
The script.
The script is. Let me bring you to another one.
It starts from the end coming back.
Yes. Now we reach there. There is anxiety of who is going to be arrested. All these people to be lined up.
In court.
They are going to be in court. What do we do? Invent a story.
And you know what the president said the other time when he was giving the State of the Nation address in Parliament. Once you've been arraigned in court, now it will be your time to step
aside.
So now Kenyans are also waiting for
Yes. Because the president said the other time, don't use vigilante politics. Vigilante. Let it the law. But the president did not gag Columbus to piece the pieces.
Okay.
We are just piecing the pieces.
Well, chapter 4.
Yes.
Freedom of expression.
Yes, not even expression. We are the fourth governors, fourth estate, journalists, piecing the pieces. Watch this drama. The letter appears on the scene. Mr. Tuju is on the limelight. He's the only man to be plucked out of the party. We go on. It comes the transcript. We arrive. Before that, we are in Rivertex. The entire section of Jubilee Party says, Mr. President, we work together with you now. Hallelujah. 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 We move on. That's Friday.
Yes.
This is something intriguing. From Friday, Saturday morning, what? The same men who had pleaded last night that we are very loyal to Julius Caesar. Mr. Julius Caesar Emperor, we are loyal. Even tell Madame, we are loyal. Emperor went back and said, I'm very loyal. I'm teaching literature here though. But the patterns, you remember the patterns remain the same in the sky. Saturday they were on it. You must go. Look at that section of, you can see, because the plan is not working. They waited for Tuju to be away because Tuju would have already issued a statement.
Oh, he's away?
He's away. He has not, I don't know whether he has arrived. I'm not his lawyer. If he also did what they say, he should also come out and say the truth. They waited, he's not there. We waited for football. That football is sponsored by the French, which Africans enjoy to watch and clap. I don't watch, only that Uganda can play up to the moon. But I'm sorry, it is sponsored by imperialists. I'm not happy. So, here we are. The script comes. What do? Tuju is not here. Let's start another thing. Fake letter now, from nowhere, arrives. People were sitting. I don't know if they were there. But Moses Kuria says he's the one who used to pay the hotel. And he was there, 40 people. Now both Moses Kuria and Amunya say 40 people were in all the time in these meetings. Okay? And the purpose was discuss development because Kuria is the one who raised the issue that the people in Mount Kenya and other areas are not well funded or well projected. No projects, no development, nothing. Wanakufa na njaa inawaua, wako na kitu lakini hana kitu. Okay? Kuria comes out, they make mistake, they pay for the room, which has CCTV, a hotel used by very many people. Then 40 people sat down purportedly and plotted to kill. 40 people. Of course, there were 40. So either the discussion was subdivided into rapporteur. I don't know who was the rapporteur in the meeting. Subcommittees. Subcommittees. I don't know which committee sat down to kill, to plan the killing. A threat, and I want to state this categorically, a threat to life of any person in the world is a serious threat. And therefore, the DCI should go anywhere in any country. The DCI should investigate, should go to the deep depths of this. If indeed there was this, first the letter, who offered the letter? Is it the president who released the letter? Because the letter was sent to the president. Is it the president's secretary who released the letter to the public? Did the president receive the letter? Is the letter present in the president's office? These are some of the things. Colombo, I am the Colombo, piecing up the pieces. Have you seen where we have got it wrong? Whoever was doing this was eating money for nothing. He's a fake strategist. He's a fake fraudster. You know they can be a good fraudster and a fake. You know there's a fraudster and a fake. Fraudster. And fake. Yeah, if you don't deliver what your master has said, then you are stupid. So these guys are stupid. They did not know there would be a loophole. So we shout. They say we want to kill Caesar. Caesar! 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 Oh. Then someone said there's a group that is plotting. The president has banned politics. That's the script. No more political rallies. You can't hold them this side. You can only hold them in your backyard.
Are they going towards, are they extending it to the other parts of the country?
And they can't, no. Where are they going to extend it?
To Kisumu?
Yes.
You keep saying.
Yeah, I thought it was going to Kisumu. Okay. I wish this group can also land in Kisumu and address a meeting. But that one will make you swallow saliva again. Because, so, yes. In a nutshell, the evidence that can bring about the truth, because we are not saying this is not true, and neither are we saying this is true. We don't know.
Yes.
We are just journalists, like Standard newspaper has written. And we're also analyzing from our brains as investigative journalists. So, if this plot was there, if you look at the English language on the letter, how many people who are supposed to be in a meeting did not turn up, and they had a hearsay, and then turned a hearsay into a reality in order to eat food and to get some money as a handout. That's one flank. The second flank, if it is true, it is a straightforward, like me, 47 times during the ICC times, I was threatened by even a friend called Harun Dubi. Harun Dubi, lawyer Harun Dubi, told me that we shall squeeze you. I don't want to say the word that he told me. In the Sagurit Hotel, Harun Dubi, lawyer, called me. I was eating my meat. Even my meat could not go. He said, we shall kill you and press something, which I don't want to say here because it's national television. I left the meat at Saguret Hotel because Harun Dubi body is bigger than myself at that time. In 2009, I was not like this. Because age is catching with me, I'm also growing old. Harun Dubi came to my face and threatened me. Harun Dubi threatened me. But I did not go far. I said, thank you, eat the meat, let me go away. Because he said, we shall finish you, and even Funjat. You said there's something he said that you Africans, I cannot say it here.
We get it.
You get it.
You translate
yes.
it. Yes.
Because of ICC. Because I had come in and stood in the middle to say these cases are wrongly being investigated. Jamen, those who hate me. But I'm telling the true story today. Harun Dubi, you are there. Harun Dubi did not keep quiet. He followed me. When we were doing Rule 68, Harun Dubi told Dutch police that I had killed Mr. Njonjo Moe. Harun Dubi again came to the toilet and said, you are the one who was seen last with Njonjo Moe. Because when they waited for Njonjo Moe to give a speech, Njonjo Moe had left. Disappeared with the speech, with everything. The whole thing was paralyzed. Apparently, the Njonjo Moe cited one Mugiki man. Harun Dubi, lawyer, and Gladiolo Otieno, they made a protest that their man delegate had disappeared. No sooner God is with me. Look at me. God helped me. This is it. I'm defending Rule 68, where the man I was defending did not want me to go there. Mark that. He sent a man with teeth. There is a man from teeth with very dirty teeth who was talking very bad things there. I don't want, he is one of those confusing the office of the deputy president. Now, I stayed in The Hague, almost a prisoner, because if this man does, if by mistake Mr. Njonjo Moe does not appear, I was not going to come back, because Harun Dubi had told the Dutch police that one of the delegates has disappeared and Matanga is responsible. To finish the story, we told the police, let's look at the CCTV. Njonjo Moe called for a taxi, and the CCTV driver came, picked it, Njonjo, and took him to the airport, and then Njonjo left for Nairobi. Njonjo Moe. The following morning, the Star newspaper, this same one you are handling, says one delegate disappears in
The Hague.
The Hague. And the day back in The Hague, Harun Dubi was on my case. And don't forget, in 2009, Harun Dubi made me leave my meat in the Sagrit Hotel. Said, we shall kill you and break those things, which I don't want to tell you. So me, for fear of my things, I left. This is the true story, Kenyans. So, God helped me that John Jumuel surfaced in Kenya. He said, he went to the press and said he's alive, he's here, he's not dead. So the newspaper with this internet was shown to the whole conference. Have you seen? I was vindicated.
You're vindicated.
Now, this is something that you cannot, I've written a book which is coming out. What I suffered, how I left my meat at Sagrit Hotel, running away from Harun Dubi and the other NGOs who wanted to swallow me because I was defending Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta and the Ocampo 6. Being a foreigner, that's what you go through. So you suffer those consequences. So coming back to the reality here, this story is a story of Machiavellian nature. Created the impression there is a problem. Tell the king there is a problem, the emperor of Sicily, that there are people planning to assassinate you. There are people who are against our empire. And they are working with the Ottoman Empire and the barbarians. Then the emperor said to Machiavelli, please go down ye to Rome and look for arms, horses, silver, gold, men to come and defend the empire. Machiavelli took 600 years. I don't know how they were counting years those days. While the emperor was waiting for help from Rome, Machiavelli formed his own army in the middle and came over through the emperor of Sicily, Florence. Thank you. The script ends there. And I hand over everything of mine to my lovely Miriam.
But before you hand over, Doctor.
Yes.
Of course, what the Star is saying, assassination was Ruto letter fake. This is what the Star says. Just a line here. The officers told the Star newspaper that they had traced the source of the letter and were about to summon those they suspect authored it. And also quoting him, he says, we are pretty confident that we are about to find those behind the letter, and all we can tell you is that no cabinet secretary wrote the letter. So from the DCI's office, this is what has been said. And also, the DP, Ruto, insisting that he wants only Mr. Kinoti to take his statement. What is your take on that? He refused another investigator that was sent there to get a statement from him. He insisted only the DCI should do that, Kinoti himself. Was there a special reason, or being that he's the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya?
Of course, he's supposed to have the highest accorded. He's on a rank of head of state. He's right to call for Kinoti. Kinoti better goes there with gloves.
Okay. So Kinoti better show up at the
Yeah, but Mr. Kinoti is my friend. We shall give him advice on how, also help. These things now you wear. You know there is what we call polonium 210.
Polonium that killed Yasir Arafat.
Yeah. Can you people not greet? I don't greet people in a nightclub.
Is polonium here in Kenya, really?
It can reach here.
It's from Russia. That is where it's
Yes, people have been dealing. How did the machines, betting machines arrive here? Most of the people conducting betting machines are from Ukraine, Belarus. What's wrong with you?
Nothing is wrong with me.
Belarus, they are here.
I'm using Polonium.
They are here. They have ex-generals, ex-captains, ex-brigadiers. They are here. They can bring polonium 210. So mchunge.
And you only need a very small fraction of
Yeah, some people are desperate for this power. I am not desperate for power. Me, Museveni defeated me, and that's the end. When you are defeated, you call it a day.
Have you called it a day?
Yes, my children have grown.
Yes.
I was waiting for my children to produce children. My firstborn grandchild is 16 years. Eradine, she speaks Portuguese. Maybe she might be a president of Angola one day. Yes, you never know. When I'm gone down, I'm not talking. I have 9 grandchildren is enough. That's all I wanted. They can produce muzare muare. I don't mind. But I wanted my children to grow fast. So that nobody beats them anyhow. So for now, for me, you can do anything you want. I'm here to deliver the world, to tell the world the truth, to tell Africa that there is something wrong, Miriam. Here, you can't write a script the mother you wrote yourself. It ends up there. Where is the letter? Who wrote the letter? Is it the president who supplied the letter to the public? Where did the letter originate from? A letter going to the State House has a stamp received. Who received the letter in the State House, then distributed to the social media? Who? Msiharibu inchi jameni. This is your country. George Soros' money maybe is arriving here. You can see another pumpkin guy saying everybody must leave. Eh? How did the people of Kenya select such people? Is it mob hysteria? Now Maina commander is justified. Yes. These people mobilized the people and went to the headquarters. Maina commander had won. And he went to the headquarters, nullified an election. The president had to come in and help. Look at the person. This whole MP has been tangering all the time.
The president had to intervene, I remember.
Yes.
He was crying. Literally.
This man is one of those handouts, man. Handouts. Every Thursday, handouts. 200,000. You tell the villagers that I was only given 50.
Handout Thursday.
Call it, Miriam, now you are talking. Handout Thursday.
I'm just saying.
I told you Wabukala, my cousin sister, brother called you Wabukala, the Archbishop of, the former Archbishop of the Anglican Church of Kenya. He's my cousin from another mother and a father. He should stand up and walk with handcuffs and just stay near in unmarked cars on a certain road in Nairobi. Get 10 unmarked cars with your EACC officials. You will see how many MPs you will arrest. How many people you will arrest with bunch envelopes. Go again to another house in another place in Upper Hill. Park the car around cars with your unmarked. And every MP who comes out today, tell them what are you carrying. You will know how bad and where the money has gone.
Perhaps where the money is coming from.
So thank you very much. I hand over the whole thing
to me.
To Miriam.
Thank you.
And wait for our next session,
yes,
which is, has George Soros and the international civil society taken over African continent. Yes, yes, that's the topic. Exciting. Don't go away. Pick your phones. Those in Amazonia, pick your phones and see the double standards they are played on you. They can't support you to get away from Paul Biya. Yet, they say they want to change governments in Africa. Those in Khartoum also go and make more bread. You said you rioted because there was no bread, enough bread. The hunger was killing you. Why are you staying on the streets? Won't it kill you? Those are the things we want to see. I know Miriam does not agree on the Khartoum issue.
Well, actually on that we sort of agree to some extent.
Yes.
Yes, as you will see when we'll talk about it. But
go in Nigeria, and see the players are not playing football today. They were promised $10,000 per day. It is not coming. Buhari has eaten it with the wife. You know, part of the problem that kills African leaders are wives. Mugabe was a very good man until the wife killed him, finished him. And yet at night, the wife goes to sleep with some other people. Yeah.
What is the age difference between Mugabe and the wife?
It doesn't matter age. Does it matter? Does it hammer?
It does hammer. It does matter. 95 years old, and the difference is 40 years.
46, yes.
Surely.
Then why did she marry Mugabe?
I'm not saying anything.
She spoiled our president. That woman, even if we meet on the journey towards hell, I would rather use another lane if it is there.
To hell.
To hell, yes.
Okay.
She spoiled our president. She spoiled an African nationalist, a Pan-African. Mugabe was a good man until that woman called Grace Mugabe, Amai Mugabe, just came and destroyed the whole life of our African hero.
And the legacy of former President Mugabe.
Talking about wives, I want to take this opportunity to send belated birthday greetings, which I sent on Twitter to His Excellency, the First Lady of the country called Uganda, Mama Janet Museveni, and her birthday.
It was a birthday one yesterday or
2 days ago.
Okay.
Mama, thank you very much for the work you did in Karamoja. Mama, try to do more work for the people of Uganda. Mama, that is the spirit, govern, guide that country. Mama, may God give you more years. You have a heart of a mother. You changed Karamoja to turn into a productive place. I give you kudos. I give you kudos. Happy belated birthday to you.
See, not all wives are bad. See, you seem to be agreeing with
yes.
her contribution towards Uganda.
No, that she did a great job as a minister of Karamoja. The first lady of Uganda turned Karamoja into an island of production amongst the Pokot and the Turkanas on this other side who eat each other every day. Karamoja today is an island of production, crops grown, Nanoko crossing over with his shoes, which he obtained recently, crossing over to drink beer and then come back armed again. In Karamoja, you cannot go there with arms. We thank Madame Janet Museveni for the tenacity, the steadfastness she has conducted herself in running the affairs of Karamoja district or province until Karamoja grew up into a viable country. We used to send flour. We grew up when the only business that you can do is to buy maize and send it to Karamoja. Because it was the only place that was where maize, where the food program, hangers, what, all those gadgets, we are sending food to Karamoja. we want to take this opportunity, myself, my family, my establishments, my think tanks. We want to thank you, Mama, do it again to some other parts of Uganda. We need that help, that motherly touch, such that things can improve in our country. Instead of condemnation all the time, condemning. Opposition leaders who condemn all the time are not very good opposition leaders. You must at times concede and give a credit where the president has done something good.
Or even give alternatives.
Yes. But condemnation without alternative is useless. You better go to River Nile and sink, crocodiles take you.
Condemnation without alternative is counterproductive.
Yes.
Does not get a country anywhere.
Thank you, Miriam.
All right.
I'm ready.
Okay, so let me just get straight to what is making news this afternoon. It is afternoon here in Kenya. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from across the world. I see Abraham Chol, you're saying you're watching us from Australia. Odina Kuchuku, you're saying you're watching us all the way from China. And the rest of you are watching us today. Thank you so much. So we start with Gambia, where a 23-year-old former beauty queen in the Gambia, Tofo Jallow, has said she was raped in 2015 by ex-president Yahya Jammeh when he was in office. Her testimony is part of a Human Rights Watch and Trial International report that details another alleged rape and sexual assault by Mr. Jammeh. The BBC tried to contact Mr. Jammeh, who now lives in exile in Equatorial Guinea, about the allegations, and a spokesperson for his APRC party denied the accusations made against Mr. Jammeh.
Hold the fire first. She was raped by Jammeh.
A former president when he was in office.
Why then?
They're now holding that peace and reconciliation, so people are coming there to.
So who is she also going to reconcile with the husband?
She's only 23-year-old, so I don't know when she was being.
She was 23 years old.
She's 23 years now, so she was perhaps underage then.
She's now 23.
And she was a beauty queen. I think she was Miss Gambia.
At 23.
Earlier. Now she's 23, so perhaps she was
no,
19.
Then that's a lie. Continue. I'm Colombo. If Jammeh was overthrown 3 years ago.
She was raped in 2015.
Raped in 2015. Mm-hmm. Yes, 3-4 years ago. Mm-hmm. How old was she? She can't be Miss Gambia at a lower age. They can't be raped. In the Gambian law, which is English law, you are a child when you are over 18.
But even if you're
was she under 18?
But even if you're over 18 and you have not consented, then that is rape.
Consent. How do you consent?
Because as you see the way the beauty queen, once they win, they go and meet the president in
his
house. But he might have.
And if you meet the president in the house, did she come and tell to the investigators or the people who are handling that the president has raped me? That's a dead guess. Where did the knicker fall? Which side, left or right? You see?
The details.
Ma'am.
Through the details.
Rape case, a knicker must fall on one side. Which side does it? You people call me and tell me right back to justify a rape case which is forceful. Where does the pant fall?
But do you think
I'm a lawyer.
In public,
I'm an international lawyer.
She'll go in public to make such claims.
She's going in public because Yahya is in trouble. If you are in prison,
and she's not the only woman.
No, if you are in prison,
she's not the only woman who made.
Fine, but if you are in prison, every person can love your wife because you have nothing to do. You know the most painful thing is people to love your wife and you hear they are driving with her in the same Range Rover of yours you bought. That's why people fear going to prison. That's why letters are manufactured.
But still,
am I making some sense?
But still, can
I bring you to hold it? You are going to have time. I won't talk much about this. Miriam, Besigye versus the Republic of Uganda. In a rape case of Chiza Besigye versus the Republic of Uganda, the case ended by the judge asking one question to Besigye's house girl, that night when you slept, you say you were raped. I want you to give a direct answer to this court. Direct answer. Where did the knicker fall? Full stop. Ask any Uganda, read about it. The girl answered different, that it cannot fall on that side. And the judge stood up and said, case finished. Basically, you have no case to answer. There was no rape. It was a consent.
Okay.
Yeah. It shows you, not that the girl was not hammered, she was. But there was consent. Because normally that thing does not fall on the... I want to tell you because I'm waiting for answers from my people. I wanted people to guess where did it fall. If you read the basic case, judges concluded those cases. Apart from the DNA, now this case of Yaya, you can't prove from DNA.
Yes, it's
the girl has washed herself several times.
2015.
Gone to Gambia River. And maybe gone with so many partners. Multiple.
About 4 years ago.
Multiple partners.
We can't say that.
I don't know. Have you ever been to Gambia?
No.
The ladies are very beautiful.
But we can't say
you can't stay in the hotel in Gambia without looking out of the window.
African women are beautiful.
Yes. The only problem, they have a very ugly person called Fatou Bensouda. Thank you.
All right, so the Human Rights Watch and Trial International report is happening, and they've been taking details on whatever the human rights abuses that happened during the reign of former President Yahya Jammeh there in Gambia. We go to Ethiopia, where groups of angry young people in Ethiopia's northern Tigray state were seen chanting anti-government slogans as the bodies of the two generals killed on Saturday violence were returned home for Wednesday's burial. Army Chief General Sierre Mekonnen and Brigadier General Gizai Abera were shot dead as a part of what the government has called a coup attempt in Amhara state. And Eritrean Catholic bishops have called for fasting and prayers in the ongoing row with the government. In the last few weeks, the government has closed health centers and clinics run by the church. The bishops have been critical on what they say is a lack of justice and bad governance by President Isaias Afwerki's government. And in Zimbabwe, President Emerson Mnangagwa has defended a move to ban the use of international currencies such as the US dollar, South African rand and British pound. Monday's announcement caught locals by surprise. Zimbabwe has not had its own fully fledged currency since 2009, when the authorities abolished the Zimbabwean dollar because of hyperinflation. Shops and most businesses will only be allowed to accept the substitute currency, RTGS dollars. And in Liberia, police in Liberia are investigating 2 officers after they shot at people protesting against ritual killings in Kingsville, about 20 kilometers south of capital Monrovia, leaving at least 1 boy with serious injuries. And we go to Nigeria, and the latest is that the players from Nigeria national team have refused to train ahead of their second group game today against Guinea in the African Cup of Nations tournament in Egypt because of a row over bonuses. The players have not received $10,000 match bonus they had each been promised. The Nigerian Football Federation is desperately looking to raise the money to avert a pay strike. And we move to Sudan, where Sudan's de facto leader has promised to release all imprisoned members of rebel groups, the country's state media has reported. Mohamed Hamdan Hemeti Dagalo, deputy head of the ruling military council, said there were no political prisoners in Sudan, although opposition says many of its members have been jailed. Hemeti is also the commander of the paramilitary group, the Rapid Support Forces, which violently dispersed opposition protests in the capital, Khartoum. And we go to Tanzania, where members of parliament in Tanzania have asked the government to end the rule requiring shopkeepers to delay opening on Saturday's morning once a month to get people to clean up the streets. Private-owned medias have reported shops are only allowed to open at 10 a.m. local time on the clean-up days, but very few people get involved in the tidy up. And still in Tanzania and Rwanda, a plan by Tanzania and Rwanda to extend the joint standard gauge railway to link Kigali and Rubavu on the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo seems to have gained fresh impulse after President Felix Tshisekedi's recent visit to Dar es Salaam. Kinshasa has given the green light for a feasible study to be carried out to pave the way for the stretch of its eastern border. And we go to Egypt, where security agents raided 19 businesses on Tuesday, who they accuse of funding a plot to overthrow the state. A footage broadcast on Egyptian television showed police officers raiding the farms in the capital, Cairo, and the cities of Alexandria and Ismaila. The Interior Ministry said the bursts were in response to the businesses allegedly funding a plot intent on overthrowing the state and institutions. This month, it claimed 250 million Egyptian pounds, equivalent to 15,000 US dollars, was seized in the raids, which targeted businesses affiliated with the outlawed Muslim Brotherhood group. Yes, and in South Sudan, the Archbishop of the Episcopal Church of South Sudan is urging President Salva Kiir and Vice President Dr. Riek Machar to keep close contact while the agreement is being implemented. Leaders of the opposition alliance, former detainees, are in Juba, with the exception of Dr. Riek Machar, who is still in Khartoum, and that they have been going through the recent report about the Juba implementation of the peace process. And in Uganda, anybody who pays rent from 500,000 Ugandan shillings and above must sign a written agreement with the landlord, a parliament has ruled. Debating the landlord and tenant bill, the House chaired by the Speaker of Parliament, Rebecca Kadaga, agreed that for rent below 500,000 Ugandan shillings, the agreement may be in writing, verbal, or by the phone message, depending on the parties. And in Malawi, the Human Rights Defenders Coalition has urged police to protect protesters who will join vigils from 4th to 5th July. The organization has organized the protest as it continues to demand the resignation of Malawian Electoral Commission chairperson Jane Ansah following the May 21st elections. And in Cameroon, the United Nations International Fund of Children's Emergency Fund has revealed that around 650,000 children living in Ambazonia region of Cameroon are in need of multiple forms of humanitarian assistance. The information was disclosed by UNICEF spokesperson Toby Flicker in Geneva. And I think that is the latest from Africa this morning, this afternoon actually here in Nairobi. So thank you so much for joining us. We're having a problem there in Malawi. Yesterday, I think you talked about it in your evening show. Yes.
And before we go to Malawi, I would like to I've sent something to Fred. Bring it on table. The former Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga, is in Egypt. He met the Egyptian Minister of Roads, Transport, and you see me, Colombo, I researched a lot.
But he's there in his capacity as the AU infrastructure.
Yeah, that is what but people need to know.
The information, yes.
Yes.
Colombo is very fast in delivery.
The Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Amolo Odinga, who is the High Commissioner of African Union in his capacity as the ambassador for African Union for infrastructure and other related issues, met the Egyptian Minister of Housing, Utilities and Urban Communities, Professor Assem Elegaza, in Cairo. This is good. There is progress on all angles. The Prime Minister, I think you can bring that photograph for our viewers in Kenya to see that Kenya is working everywhere, not bitter. It's good that Raila Amolo Odinga is not around here. They could have said he's in the plot. So thank you very much, former Prime Minister, comrade, fighter, rebel leader, formerly, who has become he's my friend, rebel leader. He was. We were all rebels. Yes, we fought battles. He's now in power. I'm not yet. So thank you very much. And
don't say he's in power. You'll make some people from another section.
No, he's in power in African Union.
Of the ruling party start feeling certain.
No, we are all headed for African Union.
And now you might confirm there as the allegations he used the back door to be in power. He came through a window.
Whoa! Wait, there you are. There you are. Thank you very much. What has ashamed us among the African news?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the picture of the former Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. Raila Amolo Odinga, meeting the Minister of Roads, Urban Facilities, Housing, Communities, Urban Communities, Professor Assemu Esigaza.
In Egypt.
In Egypt. Cairo. Talk about Egypt, Cairo. Kenya is playing again today.
Are they?
I don't know. I want to hear.
I did not check that.
But what I know is that Uganda, I've been told by a friend that they will play with Zimbabwe.
You have a very good friend. Keeps you.
But because the friend has heard.
You're not.
I don't want to watch a match sponsored by imperialists. Yeah.
So now, talking about Egypt now, yesterday there was a raid of several businesses in the capital of Cairo, because apparently these businesses are now funding a plot to overthrow Al-Sisi's government. So things are not holding in Egypt. Should we worry that even our teams are there right now? With
Yeah, like you see, but how can you overthrow government with $15,000?
They seized only from a few shops.
Yeah, $15,000 can overthrow a government? Come on, Assisi. Aye.
Will things like this not really incite the members of the Muslim Brotherhood? They're still mourning and grieving the death of Mohammed Morsi.
Yes, I mean,
things like this.
Maybe the interior ministers detected they could disrupt these football matches.
Okay.
Remember, because there, and it is true, the Muslim Brotherhood. So whatever the Egyptian authorities are doing now to crack down on possible attacks on our African brothers who are playing football there could be very useful. So we pray for you, Egyptian security agencies. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we come to breaking news. News just in.
Yes.
Detectives have broken into the house of Mr. Paul Kobia.
Paul Kobia.
Businessman Paul Kobia in Riverside, Kilimani, with reports that 8 of his workers been held. The reason for their raid remains unclear.
Paul Kobia.
You know him?
He's quite a famous...
He's a famous guy. But famous, you know, that guy is a very good-hearted guy. He treated us very well in the Hague when we went for these cases
Was that the
of
Hague?
ICC. Yeah, the last day that the president was there, he treated us so well. I don't know what has happened to him. I don't know. We shall listen to the breaking story as it develops, but that is what the situation is right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Very breaking news. So we were talking about Malawi earlier, and of course you gave an update yesterday. The unrest has refused to subside, and now there seems to look as though President Peter Mutharika is under siege in his own country.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Elections in Africa, we don't need them. We are not yet mature. We are not tolerant. We cannot hold any other view. We can't get a view from anybody and say, okay, you have won, let's get working for a better Malawi. We proceed and get what we want. Elections in Africa are sabotaged by external forces. External forces tell the masses to riot, to make changes that they cannot hold. Elections in Africa are the triggers mechanisms for death on our streets, in our cities. That's the truth. So we leave it there on Malawi.
On Malawi. All right. So they've been running battles, of course, with the opposition members and when the police. Before we leave it there, the police who attacked the protesters, and you know what happened? The army came in to protect the protesters. So that tells you there's already a division in the armed forces there in Malawi. So that is a very dangerous ground, even for Peter Mutharika himself. He's not safe. If the army is coming to protect the people, you as a president, you should be very worried. And disperse to the police officers.
Yeah. No, they just opened the door. Miriam, you are saying they passed. They only opened the door and they said, you go. He's there.
To State House.
So Mutharika had to jump over the fence. What type of Africa is this?
The army opened the door to the State House.
Yes.
And he told the protesters, he's in there, go get him. Oh my God, that is interesting. All right. That is very interesting over there. Anyway, and also Ethiopia is another country to watch, and Eritrea now. The Catholic Church is saying they're going for prayer and fasting. They're praying for Afweki because it's making life very difficult there. The hospitals and the clinics, the health centers that are being run by the Catholic Church, they're still closed, and the people are suffering, and they cannot understand, why a head of state would want his people to suffer and not get treatment or other services that they critically need. So he's not doing anything about it.
Okay.
Yes.
You were asking about?
I'm saying in Eritrea, the Catholic Church, they're gone for prayer and fasting.
They are minority. Let them just keep quiet. They will not. Nani will not change his behavior. That boy is very bad. They will just slaughter them.
So has George Soros an international?
So let's come down here nicely.
Yes.
Yeah. You have documented it very rightly. Nearly all governments in East Africa have enacted punitive laws targeting the NGOs that operate in their countries. I predicted in 2016 that most of the African countries will fall under the hammer of regime change. It is happening and it will happen. But for that to tighten it up, let me do a small clip.
Okay.
That can save us time, and we go back to rest and watch the story of the pumpkin. That's one. Watch the story of a hoax, a fake letter as it unfolds. Watch the story of the murder that she wrote by Agatha Christie. Agatha Christie. You remember that lady? Yeah, the murder she wrote. It is even a film, a very nice film.
It is.
But on behalf of the Colombo stars, let's do that. So, I will begin this way. In the 1960s, fellow Africans will remember very well that governments in Africa were being overthrown by military. In the 70s, military continued to overthrow, take over democratically elected leaders, and install themselves in format of military juntas. The politics of the 60s and the 70s in Africa brought a lot of suffering, coupled by the Cold War between Russia and America, that most of the countries in Africa lined themselves according to the who feeds them first and who gives them arms next. Most of Africa found itself in the hands of the Russian or communist states that were providing arms for the liberation of the rest of Africa. Since then, things have changed from the Western world, that instead of overthrowing governments through violence of the military generals taking over, they have designed a method through one multi-billionaire international funder, George Soros, through Open Society Foundation, that targets, eliminates, overthrows governments in Africa. The recent revelations that over $1 billion have been given out for the overthrow of governments in Africa leaves a lot to be desired. There is hope that at one time Africans will stand up and realize that changing government violently when we don't have programs of what we want to do with this governance once given to you is tantamount to suicide. The question of Sudan, where the civilians cannot agree with the military on which way forward. The question of Zimbabwe, where SADC now has come in to tell the international community and the rest of the world that they support the government of Zimbabwe against the NGOs, international NGOs and local NGOs that have fomented trouble to overthrow the government of Emmerson Mnangagwa through a regime change. It is therefore very, very important and prudent for African countries to watch out of the enemy who lurks in the shadows, who funds these uprisings, who funds the youth projects, who funds the MPs, who buys the ministers, who changes the civil society operations, who changes the intelligence systems of our countries to be subjected, the security agencies to be subjected into divisions in order to overturn the democratically elected government, however bad it was, however bad the elections were rigged. It is better to stick with a democratically elected government than to have a regime change that produces the Libya we see, the Sudan we see, the South Sudan we see, the Central Africa we see, the Democratic Republic we see, and the Amazonian situation that has not been mitigated by the international community. Thank you very much, viewers. God bless you, Africans.
That's very good. I think you've summoned it very well. We leave it there. So we thank our viewers for watching us.
You
today.
do it. I don't want to make you laugh. Then choke yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've made me rethink my pumpkin pie.
You are going to have pumpkin pie?
I love pumpkin pie.
You brought a pumpkin pie here?
Not here at home.
You are sending?
No, at home.
How do you prepare it?
Yeah, pumpkin pie, apple pie. Those are my favorite pies. I'll prepare you one, don't worry.
I'm slowly learning so many things, writing
But
down.
now, you with the pumpkin word this morning, I might rethink my love for the pumpkin pie. But anyway, we want to thank you, our viewers, for joining us today. Hopefully, you can meet here on our next subsequent broadcast. But for now, thank you so much and see you next time.